Batman!
Batman Arkham Origins is, in fact, an early career Batman story. It's not necessarily the origins of Batman himself, but it does tell the origins of some of the most important relationships in all of comic books. In our story, Batman has been Batman for about 2 years. So he's got some moves, he's got some gadgets, but generally speaking, he's been fighting thugs and some crime lords, some drug dealers, some pips. He hasn't faced the kinds of challenges that he'll face later on in his career. But all of that changes on the night that our game takes place. It's Christmas Eve, and the Black Mask, who is the #1 crime lord in all of Gotham, puts a $50 million bounty on Batman's head. This attracts 8 of the top assassins in the DC universe to Gotham for one night to kill the Bat.
Boss has got the biggest assassins there is, here in Gotham, all on the same night and all going after the same guy. He mad as hell, wants the Bat deader than dead.
Our open world is a little more than twice the size of the open world from Arkham City. There is the northern island, the southern island, which is connected by a bridge. All of that is fully navigatable. You can walk from the southern tip of the southern island all the way up to the northern tip of the northern island without any loading. It's all open and dynamic and streaming. That said, it is a large enough space that we felt the need to add the fast travel system, which is our Batwing. So you have this really cool, iconic, brand-centered way to quickly navigate from one location into the other.
I'm going to find Black Mask and put an end to this.
One of the fantasies of Batman is the fantasy of being the world's greatest detective. It's a core fantasy for some people, and we felt it was an opportunity to double down, to over-invest in that experience. What we wanted to do was create a detective gameplay that felt Arkham. It didn't feel slow-paced and prodding and methodical. You weren't taking a magnifying glass and looking at stuff under microscopes. It felt fast-paced. It felt like CSI meets Tony Stark meets Sherlock Holmes, all wrapped up in bat computer sexiness. That was really what we wanted to do. Batman uses the sensors on his cowl to absorb data all around him in the middle of a crime scene, sort of scan 360 degrees. All of that data is then piped back to the Bat computer in the Batcave, the supercomputer that's crunching the numbers, running the simulations, trying to figure out exactly, what the probability is of various events happening. And that data is then piped back to the visor on his cowl, where he can digitally reconstruct the events as they took place with a sort of augmented reality style view. You can fast forward, you can rewind through these events, scrubbing through them in order to figure out exactly what happened, find where the bullet impact is, find where the trajectory of that bullet is. That leads you to the sniper. You find the sniper, you understand what happened with the sniper. It's a very immersive experience that really puts you in the driver's seat, really makes you feel like you are Batman solving that crime. We think the free flow combat system from Arkham City is industry class. It's one of the deepest, richest melee combat systems of any game on any platform. And we wanted to make sure that we had that as our launching pad and that we added to it. There are new enemy types to challenge yourself with. There's new gadgets to use in free flow combat. There's new moves. There's some new animations on top of it. There are new elements that add new layers of strategy, new layers of depth, modify the experience slightly, but at its core, it's still very much that incredibly deep, incredibly well-rounded hand-to-hand melee combat system.
Where's Black Mask?
Let me go!
If you insist.
So our progression system has two sides to it. On the first side, there's the experience point system. So for every combat encounter, for every predator encounter, there's a difficulty level associated with it. If it's, too armored enforcers and 2 martial artists and a guy with a knife, that's a really hard encounter. That's going to be an extreme difficulty level. If you do very well within that, you are at the maximum amount of experience possible to be gleaned. It's the hardest challenge, the best success, you get the most XP points. Conversely, if it's just one unarmed thug standing in an alleyway and you have a hard time even just defeating him, you get a smaller amount of experience points. And every time you complete a combat, you see what you've earned, you see how much of your experience bar that has filled up, how much closer you are to reaching that next level of being Batman. And then once you do level up, and you go into the Wayne tech screen and you're choosing where you want to invest your points, which gadgets you want to unlock or upgrade. We give you a lot of information about why you should choose this gadget over that gadget.
I present to you the death of the Batman.
Wenn ihr noch mehr unreflektierte, extrem einseitige und subjektive Videospielberichte sehen wollt, die immer nur eine Meinung zulassen und überhaupt keinen Raum zum Denken bieten, dann seid ihr bei uns natürlich goldrichtig und sei euch empfohlen, noch andere Videos anzuschauen, die wir für euch haben.
Ja, ihr dürft natürlich euch durch unsere Playlists klicken und vielleicht bringen wir ja tatsächlich auch mal objektive Meinungen rein. Was meinst du?
Solange ich hier sitze, garantiert nicht. Das sei euch hiermit versprochen.